I didn't select to go, had no plans of going, and they made me offers that looked pretty good, so I went. And that was what they wanted me to do, is go out there and build teams, put people together, because that's what every rig I was on down here was always the #1 rig. That's what I want to do here. I want this to be the #1 precinct. And I know we're way far behind right now of getting there. But to bring that to the table is putting it all together. And I think your commissioner is going to have to be a working commissioner. We're behind. You got to have a commissioner who's committed to get out there and get on equipment, work till midnight if that's what it takes, be in that barn, filling stuff for the next morning for the guys so they can get right on their blades and go. And so the county hands can only work 40 hours a week, but a commissioner can put in all he wants. So that's what I bring, hard work, leadership that way.
Thank you. Stephen, what do you think your greatest skill is that you're bringing to this position?
I think the greatest skill that I have is going to be my knowledge of the roads. I'm on them every day. The experience that we have with dealing in heavy equipment. If we're not moving cattle or doing something cattle related, we're on equipment. We're building infrastructure. We're building fence. We're constantly doing something, constantly building something. As well as I know that I have to work hard, but the smart part that I was referring to is the financial side. I have run successful businesses, not only because I do work hard, but I know the financial side. I enjoy the numbers, I enjoy the budget, I enjoy forecasting and looking at futures and seeing how all that works and bringing all that together in one unit and applying that to the commissioner position. Not only that, but just my outside of the box thinking. And you know, they criticize me for thinking outside of the box, but they keep moving the box. You know what I mean? So just creative ideas. For example, something that I would want to implement is my volunteer program that I touched about. There's a lot of people in this county that are retired that have used heavy equipment. They want to volunteer in this county at zero cost to the taxpayers to help run some of this equipment 1 or 2 days a week while this equipment is sitting on the weekend or after hours, to help get down these roads faster so we can get to the next person faster and cover more ground in this county to help these roads get improved. Thank you.
Thank you. Paul Braswell, what do you think your greatest skill is that you're bringing to this position besides the repair and maintenance of the roads?
I think the greatest skill I bring to this office is my experience working with counties, working with state representatives, working with district and senators. I understand that this is not just a business, it's a government business. I know how to put people together. I have worked with many different employers during my life, helping them get their teams put together. And I have a very good habit of getting a lot more work out of a team of people to where we don't have to invest in more people. We have several problems in this barn. The budget is not that complex and it needs to be adjusted. But one of the things we really need to bring to this is transparency and accountability. And I want to bring the people of this county together by giving that to you. Got an accounting program back here on this computer. If you go look at my website right now today, it works. And what we're going to do is we're going to tell you what we're going to do, so you know when we're going to be there, so you know what we're going to do, and we're going to tell you where every penny of your tax money has been spent. It's right there online. I've got sample data up there right now. But that will stop some of the problems we're having. Makes it transparent, and that way eventually we'll get this probably within the first 2 or 3 months. If you come log in and give me your email, if we're going out to Dry Gulch Road, you'll know we're coming. We'll send you an email. So I think with my information skills, that's a good thing to do.
Thank you. All right, Tony, you get to go last. Tell us what you're going to bring other than maintenance to the roads.
Other than maintenance, I think it's public relations. It's one thing that you got to get along with all the people and treat them equally. You know, if somebody's got a question, answer them truthfully. Whenever they come up, have your phone in your pocket, answer their phone calls. Is one thing that I think would be real important to get everybody's questions answered. The biggest thing I hear out there, when are you gonna fix my road? You know, that's number one. As soon as possible, as the people get out to it. You know, you're going out and working. I'm gonna be out there 7 o'clock just like the hands. So we're gonna all be working together and work together with the other commissioners. Get them to, you know, give you some input. Whoever comes in this time is gonna need some input from other commissioners or county judge. Everybody's gonna need a little help at some point. So I think the main thing is to go out in your community, get your response, and watch your budget so you're in shape to do what you need to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, gentlemen, let's move along. The next question, Roy, you're going to get to start. The county has heard complaints for years that the roads are not crowned properly and that drainage is a huge factor in the failure of the roads. Does this sound like engineering problems or employee training and education problems? What do you plan to do about quality of the work to be performed so that we are not wasting our tax dollars on poor maintenance?
Okay, that's a good question. As far as problem, I doubt if we ever had an engineer when these roads started. So, back then. So, and I'm not going to sit there and say it's all the employee problems either. It's a little bit of both. But as far as design, a lot of it's running out of money and not putting rock down. A lot of it's letting it go. A lot of it's, you had a flood, it's 100-year flood here lately that washed out a lot of things. We got to put blame where blame belongs. That's one thing that happened. We had 7 years of drought before that. Couldn't blame roads because didn't have moisture. A lot of variables play into it. One thing I want to do is we're not finessing these roads, what I call it, and I think that's something we should be doing in the county. And that's like, when you got blades out there, you can have a guy on a backhoe, which that's one thing I love doing. That's what I do in my spare time, weekends probably, and go out there and clean out around these culverts with these blades that sit there and push the little dirt up. Then you get a small rain, it just shoves that dirt right on in that culvert. Before long, you get a culvert that's stopped up. I think there's a lot of finesse that needs to be done. There's a lot of drainage issues. There's a lot of timber that needs to be cleaned up. Limbs that are broke off. There's huge rocks on the side of the road. If it gets wet or it gets cold and icy, you're going to slide into those huge things. We got holes to put them in. We can run around the backhoe, gather them up, fill up holes. Didn't cost us a dime. You know, that's not rock we don't have to buy. We'd be killing 2 birds with 1 stone. And another thing is getting our inmates over here to start helping out.
Thank you. Stephen? Does this sound like an engineering problem or an employee training and education problem? And what do you plan to do about the quality of the work to be performed so that we're not wasting tax dollars on poor maintenance?
Yeah, I think Roy made a good point. You know, these roads were put in from farmers and ranchers years ago, and there probably wasn't any design to it. They were probably section roads at one time, and we've put roads in different places, abandoned some roads. But I think you can't worry about where it was. You need to look at where we are now and what we're going to do to address it now. Obviously, water retention in the road is an issue, and cleaning out the culverts, providing a way to get that water off of the road, and as opposed to it running down the middle of the road, which it is now. One thing that I have already been doing is visiting with some of the rock plants, some of the heavy equipment dealers, and some of the companies that will help provide training to our crew. I've already been on that, I've already been visiting that, and they are willing to come into this county at zero cost to the taxpayers and help to train our employees how to operate this machinery. Even though you may have driven this equipment for 15, 20 years, you may not know exactly how to do it because you weren't trained properly. So we may have to back up a little bit, train our employees, and then we're able to go forward and address a lot of these drainage issues. Crowning the road obviously is a big deal, providing water management and getting the water out. Thank you.
Thank you. Paul Braswell? Do you think it's engineering? Do we need engineers? That might be a good question to ask everybody too. Employee training, education problems, and what are you gonna do to make sure that we aren't wasting our money?
It's obvious that there was not much engineering going on when they built these roads originally. It's kind of like our farm to market roads, they kind of picked a place to go, and that was done back in the 50s with the farm to market roads. The engineering has to be done. We've got to crown our roads. You can put all the rock you want on the road. If it hadn't got a crown to it, all you're doing is wasting money. You got to get the water away from the road. That's the number one enemy. You got to provide a proper road bed, and you have to do the engineering on that. And we're always talking about taking transit out and looking at it. We need to get a level in this county. We can get a laser level. They're not that expensive to put on one of these road graders. We need some equipment, and yes, we need to train our employees. One of the resources we can use, and I will use, is the TEACS program. It's what we used when I sent firefighters, volunteer firefighters from Forestburg out to training. The state provides training in Montague County for your motor grader drivers and your heavy equipment operators. That program's in place. It's been very successful in a lot of counties. So it is a combination of both factors. We've got some roads that are under-engineered, and that's going to take a lot of money to fix some of those engineering faults. But we can't put expensive rock on an improperly formed road, and we sure can't put rock out so we spread it out into the ditch that we're supposed to be building up from. So there are two of those issues here, and I think they both need to be addressed.
Okay, thank you. Tony? What do you want to do about the engineering, the employee training, and